Okay, we've got breaking news coming in. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky says Russian forces have now entered Kiev. They've officially entered Kiev, and he's asked all residents to be totally vigilant right now. Remember that the images that we've been showing you since last night suggest that the Russian forces have surrounded the city of Kiev, but now the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has just formally declared that Russian forces have entered the city of Kiev. So the siege of Kiev has entered a decisive phase right now. No details provided by the Ukrainian president. He says that Russian forces have encircled Kiev and now they've entered the country's capital. It's a ghost town. People are indoors. There's not much traffic or humanity on the streets after a day when there were huge traffic columns trying to leave the city and get from one place to another amidst all the uncertainty. Putin's war machine appears to have now entered Kiev and is rumbling towards the center of the city. We'll get a confirmation of whether they are actually moving towards the center, where they might actually be. But I want to go across now to Jan Husar, who's reporting bravely from Kiev. It's his country. He's reporting from the ground. Good to see you once again, Jan. We've just heard from the Ukrainian president, Mr. Zelensky, who says that Russian forces have entered Kiev now. They had encircled the city yesterday, but now they've entered the city. What are you hearing from the ground, Jan?
What I hear from the ground is really not much information, because yesterday in the north part of the city, there was some attacks of Russians in a military base, and that was just 12 kilometers out of Kiev. So it was still within the Kiev region, which is just surrounding the capital. We always feared here that the Russians will go and try to take Kiev. I think for them it is easiest to go for the capital and then cut the head off the nation than to go on fighting in the trenches in eastern Ukraine, which they were fighting on for the past 8 years.
Jan, how far are the Russian forces from where you are? Is there any way to tell how far the Russian forces are from where you are? Could it be a few kilometers away?
That is for sure true. It's a few kilometers away. But I want to emphasize that these Russian forces, those are not like the regular army with like the machinery. These are special forces that are trying to take over military installation in around Kiev to sort of destroy the defense.
Okay, that line is frozen because I think there's a problem with getting that. Okay, we're going to reconnect. Network connection is poor. No surprises whatsoever, because there's a possibility that the lines are jammed in Ukraine with people communicating with their loved ones in other places and outside. Lots of communication jamming, possibly also happening with weaponry moving in. So that cannot be, that's not something that can be ignored. We'll try and reconnect once again with Jan. I hope he's okay. He looked okay. We're going to go back to him in just a short while from now. Rajesh Pawar is our man on the ground from Mariupol. He's with me live right now. Good morning, Rajesh. Welcome. Good to see you. I hope you had a relatively peaceful night. It has been anything but peaceful around Kiev. The Ukrainian president has just issued a statement saying that the Russian forces have entered Kiev. Rajesh, what are you hearing from your networks, about what's happening in Kiev? Because the pictures are painting a very disturbing picture right now.
Good morning. I just spoke to a few people in Kyiv, some of my sources there, and one of them sent me a video of a Russian aircraft shot near Kyiv in the early morning today. And residents in Kyiv have reported that around 4:20 in the morning, they heard a lot of blasts and sounds of shells little away from the Kyiv, up roughly 20-25 kilometers from the Kyiv. So it can't be confirmed right now whether Russians have entered inside or not. And as your previous speaker was saying, these are probably special forces, and all of them need not to be in uniform. As I said yesterday, there are a lot of Russian sympathizers in Kyiv as well, who will be collaborating with special forces and will be maybe doing sabotage or some kind of activities which will help Russian forces to somehow gain control of key installations in Kyiv and around Kyiv. Over to you.
What are the facilities in and around Kiev that they would want to take over, Rajesh? We saw the heli-borne operators, heading towards the Antonov airport in that suburb of Kiev. What are the other facilities in and around Kiev that you're aware of that these commandos and special forces might want to take control of?
See, I think the most important thing for the Russians right now to seize are the two airports in Kyiv. Airport has two airports in Kyiv, which can be used for military purpose as well. I think that would be the most important target for Russian special forces right now to take control of. Besides this, there are media centers, communication centers, which if they control it, they'll be able to contact directly the people in Kyiv, the Ukrainian people, and that is what President Putin is targeting at. He is targeting the hearts and minds of Ukrainian people so that people do not resist Russian forces and they do not fight, and their will to fight, it can be broken down easily without firing. Over to you.
Okay, is it, I'm just wondering how the day is going to play out in Kiev. Special operators there, but tanks surrounding several other facilities, especially nuclear facilities like Chernobyl and elsewhere. What's the game plan? I mean, what's it looking like? No one can have a perspective like you on the ground, Rajesh. Are they sending in huge masses of equipment and soldiers, or is it like very, very surgical?
I don't think it will be very massive force entering inside Ukraine. As per my reports yesterday, they had moved out of Crimea in south, and there's a place called Kherson, from where the water supply for Crimea used to come, which is very vital for Crimea. Mind you, Ukraine had cut off complete water supply to Crimea after 2014 annexation by Russia of the Crimean Peninsula. So Russia had a huge problem supplying water to that area. Yesterday, there was a lot of fighting in Kherson, and as per my reports, Russian troops could capture Kherson yesterday and resume this water supply to Crimea. Second report was that Russian tanks were seen around Chernobyl yesterday evening. Now, have they moved towards Kyiv or some other place? I'm not yet aware of. But as far as I think, Russian forces are not going to be in big numbers with big military equipment, tanks and all. They would go for surgical strikes. They will go for pinpoint targets, especially the communication centers, airports, and other military installations. Over to you.
Thanks very much. Stay safe, my friend. We're going to keep coming back to you. You're in Mariupol right now, in Kiev. The chaos is increasing because the pictures are telling that story. We are fully aware that there is a great deal of fog of war, information and misinformation going on. But look at these two pictures from Kiev right now. A picture from the night and a picture from the day. The air defense system of the Kiev military activated late last night, trying to bring down an aircraft, and the destruction that is visible today. These are the two images that we're bringing to you right now that show you the effect and impact of the destruction that happened last night that you see in that image on your right. On the left, this morning, on the right, what happened last night. Look at the contrast, the damage, the destruction for the first time clearly visible on India Today's cameras. Like I told you, and it's not an exaggeration, we have reporters on the ground who are capturing every moment of what is taking place firsthand. So there is no second-hand information for you, the viewer. Two images defining what's happening to the city of Kiev at a time when the president of the country says Russian forces have managed to enter and they are inside the city and moving fast.